Hi, friends. We are going to talk about registration today. We are going to talk about the hard problem, the soft problem, and the real problem. Now, the hard problem of registration is that we don't thoroughly know what it exactly is. We know that there are observable, measurable changes in the vocal mechanisms that occur at certain frequencies. So there are definitely objective factors that we can attribute to this thing that we call registration. But as every singer knows, and every voice professional knows, there are also subjective factors involved with registration, and these subjective factors can tie into any number of personal experiences that a person has, the singer has, with their voice or the sound of their voice. So that's the hard problem. The soft problem is the melding of the objective and the subjective. All of us singers and voice coaches have to develop frameworks and language with which to think about and through which to address registration. Now, in our line of work, we tend to develop a very personal, very nuanced, typically unique relationship with registration and the challenges that it presents, as well as how we try to help people with it, right? And we base that on our own experiences along with what we may have learned from other voice pros along the way. And as you know, as we all know, the outcome of this soft problem can be that it can make the subject, the very subject of registration, kind of a challenging one. We don't always agree on what we're talking about when we talk about registration. So what I want to talk about is what I think of as the real problem with registration, which is that people need our help with it. People need us to help them with their registration challenges. I mean, boots on the ground, voice teacher, voice coach, working with every client on mastering challenges posed by registration in one way or another. We have to do that because literally that's why people are coming to us more often than not. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And I am not going to address the problem of, I'm not going to address the hard problem because that's not my department of what it is, right? I'm going to leave that to smarter people than me. The soft problem of melding subjective and objective happens in your brain and is informed by your unique experiences. So we're not going to talk about that either. But the real problem of how registration functions in different genres, particularly in popular styles, and how we can help our beloved clients with that is something that we can talk about. So let's do it. Let's do it. So I am Meredith Colby. I'm the author of Money Notes, How to Sing High, Loud, Healthy, and Forever, which introduces neurovocal for popular styles, a systematic approach to sustainable and aesthetically appropriate singing for popular styles. So I am currently running a class that trains voice professionals, voice teachers, voice coaches on how to understand and apply neurovocal, which is based on brain science, neuroscience. So neuroscience principles and theories applied to singing for popular styles. That's what we do. And I'm currently running a class that is full. The next class is filling up, and I would love for it too to be full because, guys, for me, a full class is only 12 people. So they're little bitty classes. And I want you to be in it. So I would love for you to go to the info page, the information page on my website, meredithcolby.com. And I should have a thing for it, but it will come up later, I guess. So when you go to the information page, you'll see the details. You'll see what we are going to learn. You'll see quotes from other people about how their experiences were. And so I want you to take a look at that. Also, if you're on my mailing list. So the early bird pricing was supposed to be done today, but I'm going to extend it a little bit. And if you're on my mailing list, you got an email from me for another $125 off. So the link for my site is in the information on my page, which you are either on or you're on YouTube. And in that case, the information is below in the description. So it's a great experience and all that. So I just want you to know that that's happening. I'd love for you to be in it. Now, my trigger, look, I had a pretty little thing and I didn't even put it up. Oh, well, we've moved on. The trigger today is registration. So if you want to get the freebie today, put registration in the comments. The freebie is an article that I wrote a couple of years ago that is also about registration for popular styles, but it's a little more problem solving, a little more like, here's something you can do as an alternative to belting. If your client isn't ready to do that kind of work, then you can do these things. So it's just kind of a helpful article. Not what we're going to talk about today, but if you want that, put registration in the comments, or if you're on YouTube, it's in the description below. If you are watching, if you're with me now, the people who were very nicely with me when I originally broadcast have gone on to be teaching or whatever. But if you are here with me now or on the replay, please share the love, thumbs, hearts, hashtag that, all the good things. It's really helpful. It's sort of the currency of social media, you guys. And you know I don't get paid for this. So it's really helpful when you do that, when you give me a little love that way. Now, on we go to talking about our subject, registration. I am going to ask you to think a little differently about registration today, in our talk today. At least when it comes to popular styles. Because, as you may have noticed, no doubt you have noticed that different genres call for different sounds. And that means addressing registration in a different way for different genres. So, for instance, if you are singing Western classical, a Western classical genre, your goals are to present a consistent vocal tone throughout the range. Very smooth. The goal in the training is to erase all sonically discernible breaks or shifts in the tone of the voice. If you are a contemporary music theater singer, you're singing on a microphone because it's all mic'd these days. And you probably want to master the ability to have a seamless mix throughout your range. Usually theater people do. And you also want to master that high coordinated or mixed sound, that belt sound. But music theater as a genre values honesty over aesthetic beauty. So besides that high mixed tone, you also are going to use vocal fry and speech singing. You're going to use cries and shouts. You may use a breathy tone. You're going to use whatever you want or need to get the character's message across. That's what's more important in theatrical circles. Now, in popular styles, unlike the other two previous genres that I mentioned, those popular styles are artist-driven. So the singer gets to make all the decisions about how they sound, and any goals that they set regarding skill acquisition are individual to the singer. So that's not what most of us came up with. Now, and that is a discussion in and of itself, to be honest. You know, we're not going to be taking time for that particular discussion today. We're just talking about registration. Now, there are two things that you need to understand about registration in popular styles. Probably there are more, but these are the two things that came to me today that seem important to me right now. And these two things are, when we're teaching singers of popular styles, the two things are that most of our students, not all of them, but most of them, are going to want to be able to access a mixed, blended, or coordinated tone. Those are three names for the same thing. So it's what some people call belting. But I prefer these slightly more descriptive words, mixed, blended, coordinated. So it's that. Most of them want that. And then also colors and textures in their singing. Now, I'm not going to say much about mastering that mixed or coordinated tone today, although I talk about it at other times, except to say that your student wants to be able to do that. Most of your students want to be able to do that, and you have to be able to help them. So if you can't tell them not to do that. You can't say that's a bad choice or that's an unhealthy thing for your voice. If that's how they need to sing, my friend, you have to help them. And if you don't know how to teach that, you have to learn. I know I'm being a little tough right now, but I want you to like take a teacher training class. Take my teacher training class. Everybody loves it. But if you've never mastered that kind of singing yourself, or nobody has ever taught you a systematic way to help your clients with that skill, then you have to either learn or you have to stop taking clients of popular styles, singers of popular styles. I know, that's mean, but it's literally the reason I do what I do. Literally, that's why I do all this. I want people to have the singing voice that brings joy to their lives. And if you are not helping them with that, then you have to learn how to do that. Please come take my class or to take some reputable training, but make it happen. Anyway, I want you to have your feet underneath you, when you try to teach this high coordinated sound. The important thing you need to remember, so now we're going to get past that. Now I'm done lecturing you. Now, the important thing to remember when you're teaching popular styles is that registers, and here's the big thing today. Do I have it? No, that was that. No, I don't need that. This. Registers are not so much a deficit that needs to be conquered, not something they can't do that they need to learn to do or something to get over, but instead, registers are a toolbox for expression. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun to think about? So in popular styles, registers are less about like a range of frequencies than they are an access to different tone colors and textures. So it is true that at the extremes of the range, so very high, very low, the singer has less choices about what kind of textures and colors to use in their tone. But in their comfortable range, whatever that is for the individual singer, they have a lot more sonic choices. So the registers, which happens at the laryngeal level, and vocal tract shaping or vowel shapes, right? When you put those together, the singer can create lots of different tonal colors and textures. And what I did in my last video that they took down, that they won't let me show because I shared a great singer doing it, was Sam Smith singing. And in this video, they were doing that song, they say I'm crazy. That one, you don't even know what you've done. I'm not the only one. That's the one. But it doesn't matter. I mean, he does it all the time. So does Pink. So does 𝗁𝗵𝘁. So does, I'm just trying to think of people who are very, very colorful in their singing. But there are a lot of almost every pop singer uses registration as tone color and texture to a greater or lesser extent. So anything that's kind of light in volume is going to be considered, M2 CT dominant head register-ish, even if it's a woman singing G below middle C. Still, it's coordinated, yes, but it's still, the idea is that it's lighter, right? So if a singer a singer's not going to think about, I need to use my head register here. She's going to be thinking, I want this thing to be light and intimate. Or I want this to sound really vulnerable here. So she's going to hold the microphone really close. She's probably going to have this incomplete adduction where she loses a lot of air and she, right? So she's going to be bringing us into her emotional transparency using registration. So we're not going to say to the person, well, female singer-songwriter, that note you're doing that on is a D. 4, so you need to be in your chest register dominant sound. No, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is say, how do you want this to sound? What are you trying to get across here? And then we're going to help her with that. So that's the thing with registration. Again, I wish I could share that with you, but I can't. But we can use the rich tone of the M1. We can use the light or the focused tones of the M2. We can use vocal fry. I almost said glottal scrape, which is another word. Vocal fry. We can use register breaks, right? People use that all the time. We can use, like the high, strong M1 coordinated high sound. I mean, it's all just, you guys, it's painting. It's a paint box of colors that you have here and that you can do with your students. And so as you work with this, I'm going to wrap this up. I think I've made my point. As you work with, even without Sam Smith, and they were so cute and I was so enjoying it, but oh well, I violated copyright as it is. So as you work with your singers of microphone-based genres, please remember that registration provides a different function than in the theatrical genres. Help your clients explore the different weights, colors, textures, all the fun stuff that their voices can do, all those sounds their voices can make, and then you two can experiment together with that singing and have a lot of fun doing it. So I'm Meredith Colby. I have a great week. Thank you for being here with me either now or on the replay. And I hope you have a wonderful week and have a little fun with your singers. Thanks. Bye-bye.